So I recently bought this new shampoo. I got the shampoo and the conditioner. It's like this end treatment and this once or twice a month. It's like this powder that you turn it into like a foamy froth with some water, and then you let it sit on all of your hair for 3 minutes, and it helps get all of the hard water out of your hair. My hair tends to turn kind of orange with hard water. And I love the shampoo. I can't wait to buy more. I can't wait to run out and have to buy more. This episode isn't about shampoo, but as I was treating myself in my new hair care routine the other day, I just thought about how, as a culture, we fully and completely expect that we will always need to buy more shampoo, more daily skincare products, and more body soap. It's just part of being a human with good hygiene. We don't expect to wash our hair once and then just be done forever. And the ironic part of this is that we're okay with forever needing to wash our hair and take care of the outside of our body. But as a culture, we have this great disconnect when it comes to our internal health and the way that we care for our bodies. Maybe it's because we can't actually see it. Like, we can't see what the inside of our body looks like, how we can see our dirty, oily hair looks like, right? Maybe it's because we're sold the idea that health is a one and done thing. You know, we all want this magic thing that we're going to do once and then we're just good and done and healed forever. And that's just not real. Welcome to the Follow Your Gut podcast, the show for the woman who's ready to stop outsourcing her and her family's health and start leading it. I'm your host, Juniper. Every week, I'll teach you how to understand your body and your child's symptoms through the lens of the gut so you can take clear, confident steps towards real healing. This isn't about chasing symptoms or following trendy protocols. This is about foundational healing, where we get to the root of it all, your gut. I am so happy you're here. Let's dive in. So in this episode, I want to invite you to start viewing your internal health through the same lens as you view your external health. Nothing is one and done. You're never done. The goal is not to be done. The goal is learning what your baseline is, what it feels like to actually live in balance, because most people have no concept of what their actual baseline is when their body is in balance. And from there, it's learning how to listen to your body and do what you need to maintain your balance. Something I wish everybody understood is that our microbiome is always fluctuating. It's influenced by the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the chemicals that are sprayed on our food, the chemicals sprayed in the air. It's influenced by exposure to bacteria and pathogens, viruses, yeast, mold, and parasites. The health or unhealth of our relationships. It's influenced by how we experience stress and how much stress we experience. Our microbiome is very dynamic and it's always responding to so many different variables in our life. And a lot of times flares can just seem random. It can seem like suddenly this allergy appears out of nowhere, or suddenly, something that's always been tolerated is suddenly makes you feel really bloated. Or, at one point, maybe you had a regular cycle and your cycle isn't so regular anymore, or you bleed more, or you bleed less, or your hormones seem to fluctuate more and different phases of your cycle are harder than they used to be, or not as hard as they used to be. Or, your child might go through and I'm saying this in quotes, a stage where they have a lot of food aversions, or they're really, really temperamental and feisty and have explosive behavioral outbursts. And as a culture, we are conditioned to just accept that sometimes life gets hard, which is true. That is life. Life does get hard. But when you have an awareness of what true balance actually looks and feels like, you gain a new awareness of what fluctuations are and what is a microbial fluctuation and how does that present itself in your body, in your child's body. When you gain this awareness, you are so empowered to have so much more control over your life. You're not victim to suddenly just feeling terrible or having 3-day migraines, and intuitively you know it's not for no reason, but what on earth is it? What did I do? And we always go back to that place, right? What did I do wrong? You haven't done anything wrong. You are human. You are a human who is very much impacted by your microbiome. And we live in a culture that doesn't recognize the significance of our microbiome and how it's impacting everything from our mood to our sleep to our poop to how we feel in our bodies physically, emotionally, mentally. It's impacting how our brains function and our clarity. It's impacting every part of our being. But there's this massive lack of awareness. And so when life gets hard, when we start feeling terrible, the narrative is either, this is just how it is for me. I just get like this sometimes. Or I must have done something wrong. I must have done whatever it is, however we contort it to blame ourselves. Your microbial fluctuation, it also varies. It's different from person to person. People will experience their microbiome fluctuating differently based on their genetics or what symptoms their body naturally lean towards. Everyone's fluctuation presents itself differently. Some people's stomach might get really upset. Some people have sensitive skin and they'll get a rash or they'll get hives. Some people, maybe it's more their mental health is really sensitive. And, we're all conditioned to believe in there's seasonal shifts that happen. Nobody's looking at it through a microbiome lens. What's happening in the winter when winter blues sets in, right? We aren't in the sun as much, which means that our bodies, so when we're everybody connects the sun to vitamin D. It's not that the sun is delivering vitamin D to us. It's that the sun creates a chemical reaction in our body that creates vitamin D. And that's not happening in the dead of winter as much as it does in the summer. And so, of course, we don't feel great because do you know what happens when we are deficient in vitamin D and how this impacts our microbiome? Without enough of it, your body can overreact to really harmless things and underreact to real pathogens. So what this means is that imbalance creates an environment where harmful bacteria and yeast are more likely to overgrow. Another seasonal thing that happens is seasonal allergies. There's a direct connection between your microbiome and seasonal allergies. There's a direct connection between your microbiome and flu season. It's not that there's just this arbitrary season where most definitely, school goes back in and more germs are being transferred. But while exposure may go up slightly, it's that it's during the season. It's not a coincidence that it overlaps with all the holidays. And so we have the candy holiday, Halloween, and then we have the Thanksgiving holiday. What do we call that? Like a pie holiday. And then we have, if you celebrate Christmas, then we have like another big dessert holiday and these big meals and foods that, we don't normally feed ourselves, which what we're eating directly impacts our microbiome. And when we increase sugar like that, Throw on top of that the stress of the holidays and preparing all of the material gifts and the family gatherings and navigating family dynamics that maybe they're pretty stressful and pretty uncomfortable. That's why we all get sick. Our microbiome is directly impacted by all of this. 70 to 80% of our microbiome lives in our gut. And so when our immune system is compromised or our gut is compromised, right? They work hand in hand with each other. That means the other is compromised. And it starts this cycle that can be really hard to get out of. So recently, my family got influenza B. We were down for a solid 2 weeks. It was horrendous. Fever, chills, the achiest bodies, tremendous brain fog. And the biggest one of all was like this deep, deep exhaustion. My only gratitude for influenza B is everyone was able to sleep really, really deep. Following influenza B, 2 of my children they are my 2 boys who really led to the creation of Only because they are more susceptible to imbalance. One of them developed a rash on his elbow. The other one got really, really grumpy. And, while we had the flu, we were still taking our microbiome supplements. Post-flu, we're still taking them. But sometimes when we get hit with something so hard, and when you are a person who is genetically more susceptible, like my 2 boys, the body takes a really big hit and it can take time to get back on track. But because I have this awareness of how our bodies fluctuate, I knew exactly what was going on. I was able to pick up on it right away. And so I upped their dose of the supplements to help them through it. And I just want to share a couple other things that you can look for. Like, there's just like this spark in a child's eye when their gut is imbalanced. It's just like this angry spark deep inside. And both of my boys they're very go with the flow kids. But I know when their microbiome is fluctuating because they are no longer go with the flow and they suddenly become very reactive and really negative. Like they truly, no matter how hard they consciously try, they cannot see the good in anything. Like everything is so negative and so heavy and there's no reasoning with them. But because I have this awareness and I know what their baseline is when they are in balance, I knew exactly how to support them. And again, I gave them a bigger dose of the supplements. But in addition to that, do you know how much that alleviates from me as a parent? Just knowing that my only job here is to hold space and a deep trust and a deep knowing inside of me. Nothing's wrong. They just need some time to come back around. And how much safety that creates in their bodies that when they're acting, they're not wanting to act inappropriate. They're not wanting to be mean and negative. They sure as heck are, but they're not wanting to be that way either. It feels just as terrible in their body. And you have experienced imbalance too. There are times where, I can remember just feeling like everybody around me is out to get me and feeling so upset with them when my conscious self is like, there's nobody here is really out to get me, but it sure feels like it. And so I'm reactive. That's me with an imbalance. That's me when my microbiome is fluctuating. Our children, they don't want to act out. They don't want to defy us. They want to feel good. They want to feel good with you. They want to please you. And if they're acting in a way that is out of alignment with who you know they are in the depths of their hearts, they have an imbalance. And with this awareness, you can hold space and you can create safety for them by having the confidence of what's going on and knowing exactly how to help support them get back on track. There's nothing more empowering as a parent than being able to recognize, okay, it's okay. I've got you. This is what's happening inside your body. Do you feel like yourself? No? Okay, this is why. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not doing anything wrong. This happens to everybody. Let's just work together to get you back on track. And until then, I'm going to communicate this with the rest of the family so nobody takes it personal. Everybody knows that you're not quite yourself right now, and everybody can give you a little bit of grace. That's how my family of 6 spends just about all day, every day together, is having this awareness so that we can have the capacity to coexist and thrive together, even in seasons of, harder like this. I mean, it wasn't easy. That week following the flu, it kicked our butt. It was hard. It takes a lot of digging because, they're not sleeping. I'm not really sleeping. And so I'm tired. And I sure did. I had a snappy day where I was tired and I didn't have a lot of patience. This is not about being a perfect parent, but it's about having an understanding and having confidence in ourselves and a deep trust in knowing what's going on and being able to support them through it and being able to help them recognize what's going on, because this is not about just this moment. Think how empowering to be a child and for your mom to have this knowledge and to be like, okay, you're doing great. I know that this isn't who you are. You're not going to be in trouble because you've acted this way. When a child is in a state like this, there isn't anything that we can say that is going to change because they are not consciously acting out. Their gut has a little bit of an imbalance. That imbalance is creating a disconnect between their body and their brain. And I have a motto when my kids are going through a hard time. Hard times are when they need love. The good times are for parenting. That's when they're receptive. That's when we can share our best insights. And when it doesn't even actually feel like parenting. It feels like coaching. It feels like partnering. It feels like this cohesive relationship where we get to work together to learn new ways and new things, right? And just try to be our best selves. So if you're in a place where you can, I'd love for you to just kind of close your eyes and feel this experience for a second. So when you're having a hard time and your go-to person, when you're having your hard time, if that immediately triggers them into having their own hard time and they get mad at you for not feeling like yourself, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel safe being yourself? Does that make you feel lovable? Not really. This is not intended to guilt you as a parent. Absolutely not. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's just a little bit of a reset to really get an inside perspective of what it's like for our children. And knowing that every single human being experiences imbalances at different times in their lives. Every human being, their gut is fluctuating every single day. And there's nothing wrong with any of us. And how beautiful for us to be the ones to have this awareness and this knowledge and to empower our children and to hold space for them and also for ourselves, because we can do this for ourselves as well. There's nobody in the world that is as unkind to us as we are to ourselves. And so if you go to someone and they're so mean to you and say, you should have done better, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you feel terrible. Be your own safe place. When you're not feeling well, instead of saying so many unkind things and judging yourself, get curious. What could possibly be going on that has me feeling this way? Have I eaten today? Am I well resourced right now? Have I had enough water? Did I get sufficient sleep? Start with those. Are you well resourced for this moment? And then go deeper. What else am I experiencing? Maybe you do a brain dump and you write all the ways that you're not feeling like yourself. Allow yourself to get clear on what you need. And again, when you rebalance and you get clarity on what your baseline is, what balance feels and looks like for your body, this process becomes really easy because you now suddenly, people live their whole lives not knowing this information, never having the opportunity to experience balance. And once you do, there's no going back because you get to see and experience how good life can feel, how good your perspective on life gets to be, how enlightened you feel, how much lighter everything is, how much more ease and spaciousness there is in your life when your gut is in balance. And then you get to do whatever it looks like for you to maintain that balance. What my family does is we rebalance as needed, and then we do maintenance supplements in between. For others, other people like to just do a rebalance annually or biannually. Others just rebalance as needed. Everybody finds their own rhythm. And how beautiful for you to find what this looks like for you. So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with these questions. What if we started treating our microbiome like shampoo? What if protecting and maintaining our internal ecosystem was just part of our health hygiene? What if it's just normal? What if it's just part of life? Because that's what I've learned in my journey. It's just part of being human in the world that we live in, where we are chronically exposed to bacteria and pathogens and yeast and parasites and heavy metals and toxins that are so disruptive to our microbiome, and a world where our food isn't abundant in good bacteria the way it once was. In fact, our food is greatly deficient in microbial life. I invite you to rebalance and learn your baseline, experience balance, and then get curious. Pay attention to what fluctuations feel like for you, what they look like for your child, and stop chasing this illusion that our internal health is a one and done thing. I invite you to start living in relationship with your body instead of fighting your body. I invite you to start listening to those, maybe they're quiet symptoms. Start listening with curiosity and without judgment. Let yourself dream. Let yourself know what it's supposed to feel like. And all of those subtle symptoms that our culture says, it'll get over it. It's just part of what it's like to be a mom, or part of what it's like for babies. Babies, sometimes they just get colic. It's just part of it. No, it's not. Symptoms are the body's way of communicating. And when we listen and we go to the root of our health, our microbiome, we get to thrive. Thriving doesn't mean perfect all the time. It means being in tune and knowing how to listen. Before we wrap up, I love closing out the episode with your transformations and answers to your questions. This is my favorite way to stay connected with you and to support you no matter where you are in your healing journey. If you want to submit a question, I open up a question box every month on my Instagram stories, so watch for that. Submit your questions and make sure you are subscribed to the podcast so you are sure to hear the answers. Now, let's get into it. A transformation and a question asked by so many of you in last month's question box. Are you ready for this week's transformation? Buckle up, babe, because this is a big one. I'm going to read it straight from her. It's a screenshot of the messages this woman sent me. I have been using the Rebalance for about a year now and have been able to completely stop taking hypothyroid medication and healed my eczema and skin irritation from rosacea. As soon as we get home from vacation, I'll order the Balance CBD for my husband. It just sounds like a way better option than Tylenol or just sucking it up and dealing with the pain. Thank you. Thank you. Every time someone sends me a transformation like this, I ask them if it's okay for me to share it. After I asked, she responded with this: absolutely, go right ahead and share. My husband has healed so much. I was feeling really defeated with eczema and honestly just lost faith in several dermatologists that I had seen. They all just gave me another cream that had little or no impact. I love using the cleanse in so many ways. Teething babies, I just rub it on her gums. Kids get a cold and I put drops in their ears to prevent ear infections. Minor burn from making s'mores, and cleanse almost instantly took away the burn. Whenever any of my little ones aren't feeling well, I start them taking it day and night and they seem to recover so much quicker. I absolutely love your products. I'm so grateful to have found healing and not just masking symptoms. All of this really speaks for itself and is really why the course that you get free access to with the Gut Rebalance Kit and Symptom Specific Bundle is so powerful, because not only do you learn how to heal these more consuming symptoms like hypothyroidism, eczema, rosacea, you also learn how to use the supplements for things like ear infections and burns. And what you see visibly on the surface of the body. So this woman experiencing this most profound healing of her eczema and skin irritation from rosacea, that's what's happening on the inside of the body. That healing that we see on the outside, like the skin, we see it physically healing. That's what it looks like on the inside of the body too. So beautiful, so grateful when you guys share your transformations and then give me permission to share, because there are so many people that hear themselves in your stories and your experience, and it really helps them connect their own dots. So thank you to all of you who so generously take so much time to write out your transformation and then share permission to share it. Okay, now for our question of the week. Do we need to open up drainage pathways before doing or using your products? Yes, yes, yes. In fact, this is the very first part of the course that you get access to with your Rebalance or your symptom specific bundle. Because knowing how to use the products is really important, but the supplements are only part of this healing, right? This is an entire methodology, one where preparing your body for the healing is very, very important. So as you start rebalancing, what happens inside the body is bad bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, and parasites, they begin to die. And as they die, they can release toxins. There's also a lot of biofilm and heavy metals involved, and we don't want any of this recirculating throughout your body. We need to prepare your body. We need to open your drainage pathways so that all of this bad that doesn't belong in your body can leave with as much ease as possible. So yes, this is a very long answer to say, yes, it is very important to open your drainage pathways. And I teach you exactly how to do this in the course that comes with your Rebalance Kit and or your symptom specific bundle. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or a family member who's ready to lead her family's healing. Everything mentioned in this episode is linked down below for you in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe to the Nourish newsletter, also linked down below, so you never miss an episode. I will email you the latest episode every Tuesday morning. Everything shared on this show is for educational purposes only, not intended as medical advice. Until next time, trust your body and follow your gut.